Hey YouTube, Gundam here, welcome back to Space Engineers. Today we're going to look at this. This is, yes I know it's the Katarn, but this is a different version. This is the Katarn 6C version. Sitting next to it is a Vagabond and a Nebulon. Obviously one of the differences is the width. Not just of the wings, but also the main body. It may not be as high, but it is very long and very wide, and it's a full ship instead of having a huge gap in the middle. Notably longer. So, the Vagabond is a heavy frigate. The Nebulon is a frigate. The Katarn is a heavy it's a heavy assault destroyer. It's called an assault because of its speed. Alright? Because of the speed, this thing's an assault destroyer. And maneuverability. It's heavy because of the firepower. Let's go over them, shall we? On the front, we have a number of forward-firing, rapid-fire laser cannons. There's some of these elsewhere. There's also 4 proton torpedo launchers. We have a series of turbo lasers and dual-purpose laser cannons across the entire ship, with rotary blasters, ion cannons, more of these lovely guns here, anti-fighter missiles, with mass drivers in some defenses in here. But obviously, well, besides this barrage of missiles, one of the main differences is this octuplet. But also on the bottom, these turbo lasers here. These are dual heavies. Basically, the way it goes, this was taken straight off of an Imperial II Star Destroyer. Alright, so that's identical to an Imperial II. Except it might be a little bigger, I'm not sure. And these were taken off of a Venator Star Cruiser. The dual heavies off the Venator. However, these have been upgraded. These two weapons and that all have kyber crystals. To further upgrade them, they're enhanced and they have kyber crystals. It's not enhanced by the kybers, they are, but they're further enhanced before the kybers. And as the rear of the ship is heavily defended with a pair of rotary blasters, anti-fighter missiles, turbo lasers, and multiple dual-purpose guns here. There's also a single light laser cannon here for reasons. So, in total, the ship has 20 of these rapid-fire, forward-firing laser cannons. There's 8 up front, 6 on one wing, and 6 on the other. There are 4 mass drivers, 4 rotary mass drivers. The rotary weapons from that, I believe, the Vengeance Destroyer, that had 4, and this has 4. But this is a little bit bigger. 4 heavy torpedo launchers. Excuse me, not heavy. These are, yeah, no, are they? No, these are just proton torpedo launchers, not heavy proton torpedo launchers. These are proton torpedo launchers. There are 40 turbo laser turrets. 40 of them. And 48 of these laser cannons. These are dual purpose. They're good. Take the Ghost, alright? Take the Ghost from Star Wars Rebels. That's okay against fighters and ships. Take that, increase the rate of fire, increase the accuracy, increase the damage per shot, increase the range, and you have these. So it's great against fighters and against corvettes and even frigates, as long as they're not too tough, but if you have a ton of them, yeah. And these are the same dual guns as on the Poltech and the Vagabond. They're called Heimdalls, paying respect to that big guy who was guarding the gate in the Thor movies. Same thing. So, yeah. They all use the same guns, except for that has, what, 36 of them? This is 48, and the Poltech has over 1,500 because I lost count. All of that, there are a total of 16 ion cannons. You can see 4 of them there. There are 4 on the other side, and the other 8 are on the bottom. There are a total of 12 Rotary Blasters. Now here's the thing. That was equipped with single stack Rotary Blasters. These are supposed to be dual Rotary Blasters. So there's 2 Gatling guns on either side of the turret. So double the damage. Now it has the same number, but they're duals, not singles. So yeah. There's a total of 36 of these concussion missile launcher battery units. However, the Vagabond only has 4, but you have to remember, this ship is tiny in comparison to an Imperial Star Destroyer, and is very tiny in comparison to a Paul Tech. So these are nothing compared to one of those. You have to wait until I get the victory to see, because I'm going to try to get the victory to scale with these small ships. So you see how many the victory has. So you know that 8 from the Paul Tech equals a full victory. So how many is 4 from the Vagabond and the 36 from this thing equal? The 36 is definitely going to help. Multiple areas of pistons for refueling the ship for antimatter. Because like the Vagabond, this has an antimatter combustor reactor. But it only has 31 days of fuel at maximum output. It has far more firepower than the Vagabond, but less shields. This ship, just like the Vagabond, in a one-on fight against an Imperial 3, can win with little to no hull damage if the ship is stationary. But that's the other thing. The engine's got an overhaul. Oh yeah, the only other weapons that are on this ship that I didn't mention, the 2 dual heavy turbos and the octuplet turbo, but those are kind of obvious. So, the ship, the Vagabond, as I said, is a little slower than a CR-90, but it's actually a little faster than a Corellian gunship that I've yet to make. So it's a little faster than a blockade runner. I mean, it's a little slower than a blockade runner, but a little faster than a gunship. It's about right in between them. And it's about as maneuverable as the CR-90 as well. A little less so. About 15-20% less maneuverable. This thing, on the other hand, this thing is absolutely ridiculous. Besides that, the wings are ridiculously heavily armed. Rotary Blasters, 4 Heimdalls, 2 Any-Fighter missile launchers, and 12 total of these turbo lasers. And there's a laser cannon sitting on top of the mass driver, because reasons. Now, the engines. The engine set on this doesn't represent what it would be because reasons, but the big engine there would be there. There'd be a few others. I wanted this ship to work in Space Engineers, not just be cosmetic. So yeah, it works, but yeah. The Katarn 6C is about 8% more than twice as fast as the Empire's TIE Fighters. You know the TIE Fighter? This thing is a little bit more than twice as fast as one of those. Next, this thing's as maneuverable as the TIE Fighter as well. It's the antimatter and the insanely upgraded engines. Now this thing doesn't actually have much armor, which helps. That thing actually has thick armor, that thing not so much. This has little armor, but it's got gargantuan shields. Not as good as the Vagabond, but pretty good. Again, because of the firepower improvement over that, it's equal in destruction capability if it's stationary and survivability. It can kill an Imperial 3 just as well as the Vagabond can. Because of the increase in firepower, but they reduced shields. They're equal to each other. The difference is, although that's kinda quick, this thing's ridiculous. Twice as fast as the TIE Fighter. Yep. It's ridiculous. Now you might be wondering what's with this black line, and how come this seems cut out like that? What's going on with that? Well, the other single biggest main feature of the Katarn, and by the way, this should be retracted in. I just don't want to have to move that laser cannon. That laser should be there, but and the piston should be smaller. But yeah, that should be in. But yeah. So why is it like this? And why has this wing actually been pulled in? The single biggest feature of this is the ability of how it fits into a Paultech battleship. Like this. The wings are meant to fold. Now, I suck at rotary units, so I didn't put the other ones. Now, by the way, you're going to see that this one's missing several systems. The reason for that is I didn't want to have to... I copied this early on and then did all this stuff and then made more changes to that, so I didn't want to have to redo it. So this is just for the view on how the wings go. The wings fold around to the front and then move up and over like this. And that's why this is out like that. So it doesn't touch. Oh, that could be there. That could be there. Yeah. Or, no, when it swings back around it can't. Because when it swings back around, it can't do that. So that cannot be there. So yeah. This is just here to show the cosmetic of how the wing goes. Now there's tension fields and lots of tension fields and an insanely good system to put it on there. Also, this set up here is supposed to have multiple, just multiple bolts and clamps and other locks and tension fields to guarantee it stays on. Yeah, that fell off. So, the wings come up like this, and that's how they fit into the Paultech battleship. It is a small ship, actually. It's a very small ship. It carries a small amount of fighters inside. And it also carries a few infantry, as does that. Not many, though. But it does carry more, along with a retractable ramp that does not possess. Any infantry would just be throughout the ship and then pop out from there with jetpacks, so yeah. Or a speeder. Unless you can pull alongside some giant canyon or cliff. At any rate, Katarn 6C is designed to work as a group of 4 Katarns and slaughter battleships by zipping around it in circles, and using coordination between a group of 4 of them. Along with that, it's also meant to go and guard ground units and assist ground units at point blank range. And they wanted to guarantee that the ground units could have a lot of firepower at their disposal from this thing. So 2 simple laser cannons, 6 of these nice Heimdalls, except for there's 2 more here. That's one of the reasons that there's a light laser cannon back there, to help with the infantry. The dual rotary unit here will slaughter a group of infantry, and multiple ion cannons help, but it's mainly these things. Why are these not on top? Because it was decided these would be better for assisting ground units than an octuplet battery. The octuplet is meant for going against ships, and this is meant to shoot at enemy ground units, along with that on the wings, of course. That's why this has an anti-fighter missile on top, and this has a rotary on the bottom. Because having this on the top, because where are fighters going to be? If this thing's hovering just a few meters off the ground, fighters aren't going to be below it, they're going to be above it. If they do go below it, they have no room to maneuver before they hit the ground. If they're above it, you have missiles. So, yeah. So it's meant to be in very close proximity to ground units, directly supporting them, and the enemy shooting up at it. The thing has more shields than some battle cruisers and other vessels as well. It doesn't have the fire. That doesn't have the firepower, but that has gargantuan shields. Shields of battleships. This is shields of battle cruisers, but it has gargantuan firepower. So yeah. And yes, they can fold the wings if need be in atmosphere. I don't know why they do that, but they can. It also carries a very, very small stock of specialized missiles that are meant to be loaded with antimatter charges. So yeah, but also unlike that thing, there's also a handful of torpedoes meant to be loaded with antimatter. So yeah, that's the Katarn in a nutshell. Meant to be working in groups of 4 or alone, escorting the Imperials, escorting the Poltex, dealing with enemy ships from a distance, point blank, whatever. And just generally being a pain in the butt of the enemy. Because, well, basically just good luck trying to take this on if there's 4 of them, especially if it's stationary and can beat an Imperial 3, but has twice the speed and the same maneuverability as a TIE fighter. So, yeah. I... Oh, yeah. Oh, man, I'm tired. Sorry. I also need to mention briefly automated systems. This thing has a very minor crew that actually carries a number of ground units and can remove its fighters to carry actually some pretty big vehicles, including a few ATTs, not ATATs, the ATTE, the Clone Walker. It could carry a couple of those things if it got rid of the fighters. So, but yeah, the forward fire from this thing is deadly. These 8 guns here with the torpedoes, these 6 guns here, 6 there, and the mass drivers there. The forward fire on this thing is deadly. And these missiles will shoot out and then turn and charge you. And the victory really is where that started from. That idea was taken from the victory. So I need to build the victory soon, but I'm going to build a Golan next. I'll catch you later.